so close. Hello and thank you for clicking on this video. I'll be sharing my experience on Creative Labs' newest TWS release, which is the Aurvana Ace 2. This TWS will set you back $120 and it is one of the first wireless earbuds to feature an XMems driver. And if you want to know more about what the driver is all about, I'll leave links in the description down below. But before we talk about all the features this gear has to offer, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Creative Labs for sending this unit in exchange for my honest feedback. But as always, all thoughts and opinions are my own. There's not much to talk about the unboxing experience, and the accessories are pretty similar to many other TWSs, where it comes with a charging cable, some interchangeable ear tips, and the earbuds themselves. Just a disclaimer, Creative did send me 2 units for testing for reasons I'll elaborate later, but before we talk about that, let's talk about the design because the case itself looks quite stunning. It has this translucent dark shell for the case where you can kinda see through. It's not entirely obvious though, providing some sense of mystery about the device. Opening it, you'll be greeted by this copper colored finish on the interior, which looks really nice in real life. I kinda wish it had some groove to help with removing the earbud, but so far I've had no big issues removing it, as it has a bit of a bump for the earbuds themselves. The translucent see-through design is carried through to the earbuds themselves with Creative's logo at the bottom of the stem. It looks relatively simple from afar, and I kinda wish that glorious copper color is brought to the earbuds as well, but as it stands, it doesn't attract any attention, but it does have some cool looking designs if you do pay attention to it. In terms of fit and comfort, they fit quite securely in my ears, which helps create a better seal compared to my Capsule 3 Pro, and I can wear these earbuds for hours no problem. So talking about the app experience, it's pretty straightforward. On the front screen you have 3 main settings, which is the equalizer, ambient control setting, and the custom buttons. There's a setting button at the top right where you can toggle audio prompt, low latency mode, and even check the firmware for any updates or reset the device. What I love about this app experience is the fact that all of the Creative Labs products are kinda stored away, unlike some other TWS apps where it feels like an advertisement rather than an ad dedicated for your gears. So you have to go to your account and click the store to check out their other products. So this is something other apps need to learn and adopt. So just running through what the features on the front page, aside from telling you the battery life. So you have the EQ setting where it starts at flat, and in there you can actually customize the sound to your heart's content. There is a toggle specifically for bass and treble, but it seems to be preset to around 50 kHz region for the bass and the 10 kHz region for the treble. So if you're using specifically the bars, then you're increasing more sub bass and more treble extension. But you can also use your fingers to adjust the frequency, but I wish there were more settings to specifically key in frequency range. Like they already have the toggle, so instead of 50 kHz, if I could key in 200 or 300 kHz, or give me an option to add more toggles for me to adjust, and hopefully they can somehow do that in the next app update, because it opens up customizing the EQ to how you want the Aurvana Ace 2 to sound. I mean, they're already allowing customizability using your finger, but keying it would be easier. And doing it using finger is just a recipe for disaster unless you're really patient with it, but at least you can play around with it and it gives you a glimpse of the world of EQ. You can even save that as a preset or reset it again if you want to. The other 2 features are pretty self-explanatory. You can control the ambient control setting, and the last, you can customize what double tap, triple tap, and long tap does. The features on the double and triple tap are the same, but the long press for volume control is a bit of an oddity, as you almost have to monitor the volume and long press it, because as you long press it, it just keeps going until you let it go. I'd honestly prefer a single tap so I can adjust the levels by 1 or 2, but there's no one tap feature for this TWS, but I guess they might not want any accidental tap. So just running through some of the features of this IAM, as mentioned earlier, is the first TWS to implement the XMems driver, but it also houses a 10mm dynamic driver in there as well. It's rated up to IPX5, which means it's resistant towards water, but don't go dunking these into the pool. It supports Bluetooth 5.3, LE audio. It also supports a lot of available codecs out there: Snapdragon Sound, Qualcomm aptX lossless, Qualcomm adaptive active noise cancellation, but of course, these are all dependent on whether your device has those features as well. It has wireless charging, it supports Super X-Fi technology, but apparently it only works on locally saved files only and not on streaming services. So I didn't test that, as I mostly use streaming services for my listening. It has a battery life of up to 6 hours and a total of 24 hours with ANC off, which is fine. It's sufficient for my use as I use it mainly during commuting. So if you use it for about 4 hours daily, then it's about 6 days of use. But if you turn on ANC, then it'll be shorter. And unfortunately, it does fall short compared to a lot of its competitors, but this was the sacrifice for those drivers to deliver better sound, I suppose. So with that then, how does it sound? So I'll be using the Capsule 3 Pro as a comparison, and I've already described the sound in detail for that device in a dedicated video, which I'll leave links in the description down below. But essentially, without any EQ presets, the Aurvana Ace 2 just sounds clearer as a whole. Bass has a lot of meat to the notes, very weighty, there's enough treble to cut through the bass, vocal stands in front of the background music, but you can still hear the details in the background, though not the final word in terms of detail. But when you're comparing it against all other TWSs at this price range, I've yet to hear one better. Air Instruments retains its presence among the bass. There's a bit of warmth to the presentation with the help from the bass regions. Of course, you can always adjust the EQ by giving it a little bit more sub bass and a bit more sharpness to the treble. I wouldn't push it to maximum even though there's an option to do so, which I've tried that, and at full bass it just sounds really distorted and unnatural, and it's similar to the treble where it's max. It's like a spear through your ears. So all in all, it's typical of a TWS sound where you've got some bass coming through, some clarity in the mid-range, and some presence in the treble, but it's just a small step better in presenting them compared to the others. So while things have been sounding great for the Aurvana Ace 2, unfortunately there are a few quips that are preventing me from using this as my daily driver. Let's talk about that. The battery life. While understandable because of the drivers it's supporting, the battery just isn't enough to match up with a lot of TWSs at lower price. There is an option for Bluetooth LE, but turning this on just throws the connection where the app will disconnect from the device, and if you try to reconnect it again using the app while connected to LE audio, the entire app freezes up. So in order to reconnect again, you'd have to turn off LE audio and connect it by toggling the pairing, which then connects the earbuds again. For the settings on my phone, if I toggle just the phone, even if it says it's connected, it still won't connect to the app until I hit the audio toggle as well. Then it'll allow to connect to the software. It's a really tedious process, so lesson being, don't turn on LE audio. Also, the app at first try was really buggy, wasn't able to connect to the earbuds. The firmware took ages to download with a few failures at first try. It seems that the first unit had more of this issue, but the second one was much more stable in terms of connecting to the app. But not sure if there's been a patch or an update since my first testing. However, the biggest issue I have is mainly from the fact that there is audio dropout when it'll just go off tune for a split second, almost as if it's trying to resync audio or something, and it happens every so often. And at first I thought it was an issue with the unit itself, so I talked to Creative and they sent me another unit for testing, and it still carries the same issue, unfortunately. However, I tried swapping phones with the Asus ROG Phone 6 from using my daily driver, which is the Samsung Galaxy Fold 5, and the app seems to be more seamless, and the audio dropper issue seems to have disappeared when connected to the Asus ROG phone. So I'm not sure if it's purely compatibility issues with the Samsung device in general, or specifically the Fold 5, but if you're thinking it could be an issue with the phone itself, the fact that I had no issues with any other TWSs on the Samsung Galaxy Fold 5 is telling me that there's just something that's just not gelling between the Fold 5 and the Aurvana Ace 2. So to put it all to a close, I'm left with choosing between sacrificing my daily driver of a phone for better sound from my TWS, or sacrificing better sound from a TWS. And the answer is pretty clear. However, if you're looking for a TWS with really good sound quality and customizable EQ to your personal preference, then the Aurvana Ace 2 is a good companion. However, the competition out there is really stiff, and if Creative can take upon the fundamentals of the Aurvana Ace 2 and improve upon it, give it more battery life, give it more customizability in the app, I believe the Aurvana Ace 3, should they decide to release one, will be something to behold. The Aurvana Ace 2 is one of the better looking TWSs I've seen, and it had so much potential, but it also has compromises that stops it from taking the crown. However, that's been my experience with the Aurvana Ace 2, and I'm curious to know your experience if you do own one, or what features are most important for you in a TWS. Comment below, let me know. And with that all said, thank you all very much for watching. Thank you again to Creative Labs for this opportunity. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see all of you in the next video. Take care and happy listening.